No, you're talking about Solomon Parker.
Yeah. Okay. So Solomon Parker organized Represent, and I rapped. And around that particular,
I remember Represent.
Yeah. Represent was the issue.
Was it 96 or?
No, it was 95.
No, it was 95. 95 results.
Because Kiddafest was 94.
Yeah.
And then Represent was 95, the year after. Yeah. And you know, so here's what happened around that particular time. Anytime I went out and I had to do a dance, around that time you were required to do, you know, like to kill it, you'd have to flip, fall on the ground, do all the snake moves and everything. Yeah, good, all of them, like roll and
yeah. You do the suicide stuff. You do suicide, right? Yeah.
So, Charlie, you go finish. Look, I talk this in pidgin. You go finish, then Charlie, your shadow big dirty. Yes. Charlie, I'm like, Charlie, we come. You know, you want to capture some spotlights more, then you know, your shadow big dirty. So for me, I'm like, nah. Let me start rapping, and it's easier. You grab the microphone, you bust a few lyrics, and then you're done, and still, you know, everything is working so good. And bam, I started going a little silent on the dance. You know, so that's what happened, and then eventually I focused more on the music in terms of rapping, and you know.
Well, you know, so we're here with Robert Klah. Yes, Ghana Music Awards, as you know him now, you know, and KB.
Yes, sir.
You know, when we were supposed to go on tour.
he's never gonna let that lie, right?
They cut the budget and they let the DJ at home.
Listen, we'll make it happen. We're going back to Tokyo. We're going back to Tokyo.
We have to tour.
We are going to tour. It's
KB had his fun. It was this was early days of Twitter.
This is early days.
Yeah, what's that name? What's that name for?
Oh, Aki.
No, there was one particular one that was so promoting the music.
What,
a song?
No, like
out in Japan.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, in Japan, she was like
Akiko.
She was like the big. I forgot the name. She was like the biggest KB fan.
I think it must have been Akiko. Yeah, I think Akiko.
She was like the biggest KB fan. You know, she was posting everything. So we're getting ready for tour. You know, making sure we're on the road running. And then they cut the budget.
Sony cut the budget, man. Sony Publishing cut the budget. I mean, the budget. What can I say? Yeah. I mean, but you know, we'll still make it happen.
But talk about publishing. You know, Robert, you're somebody who's at the forefront of Ghana Music Awards now. You know, so behind the scenes, you talk about education and some of the outreach programs that you do. Let's talk about the state of our music. You know, because the state of the music matters for you to award people for what they're doing. Are we there?
I think we can separate the two. State of the music, really, when you want to get into it, that's like a whole thesis you have to drop here. But major revenue streams for music, we have live music, we have publishing, we have recorded music. So recorded music is what most of the folks are in the space. Yeah. Live music, which deals with tour and events and co-mininis. Yeah, co-minini for those who don't understand. Yeah, and
Ghana Bluffo.
You know, Ghana Bluffo is Ganglish, you know. Yeah, Ghana English. Yeah. Anyways, so so live music, you know, we delve heavily into that particular space. Okay, so fine. What is missing is publishing. You understand, and that's because we of systemic challenges that we have. But you know, reality is, I think that it looks positive because there are quite a number of things being put in place, hopefully to be able to address this particular issue. But then I'm glad and I'm happy that it's an opportunity for people like us to serve, and not just me. And I'm actually even referring to most of the folks within the space, because look, there were things we came to meet. People actually put in the work for it to stand, and it is our turn to contribute our quota, to build on that. Yeah. So I think that for as much as we like to point, mention the issue, the problems, I also want us to be the remedy. And so whenever we call out some of these things, I also want to highlight the fact that people need to understand that you cannot be in a developing country and not understand that your contribution to that particular country is to help develop it, rather than wanting to benefit from that which does not exist. Yeah, come on, man. Like, you know, if we check history, people have contributed. What have you done? So yeah, we have issues, but yeah, hopefully we should be able to put things in place to do it and make sure that it's working for the, you know, younger ones to come and benefit from structures that we will create, so to say. So yeah, so that side is what it is. And then I think that Ghanaian musicians are doing extremely well. If you look at the things that we don't have, if you look at the lack that exists, and how they are able to, work magic around
what's there?
What's there, because we kept on saying, oh, the structures are, they are structures. They just don't look like what we know elsewhere, and we just need to be able to improve upon them. So for me, big ups to everybody in the value chain of music doing the most out of little. And I'm hoping that God, gives them wings to fly. Really.
That's incredible. Somebody who did philosophy is gonna always break it down for you.
This guy, he definitely got his money's worth.
We are where we are now.
Yeah.
You've just had an incredible event. You've got new artists that the world is going to see. Who are some of the notable names? Because there are so many people that the awards scheme don't pick them up. But you personally, who are some of the names that we should be looking out for?
I think when you go into the new artist of the year category, so to say, we have the Beast Trap, we have Ara the J, we have Lani and Lola, we have Rap Father, we have Kwesi Amewoga, we have Team Eternity. So these are some of the names in that particular space. Obviously, they are the ones you need to watch. Any other ones within the space, obviously, they have had, I'm sure that most of them have had multiple nominations, and they have been around. So from the Kiddies to the Kwame Eugenes to Artist of the Year, that is Kim Promise, people like Stonebwoy, Sarkodie, etc. All of these names are known, but in terms of those who are up and coming, yes, obviously those are the names that we've mentioned. We just recently did something with Warner Music in relation to the unsung artists, and Yao Darlin is the person who won that particular category. So we are looking forward to what Warner is able to do out of the creative works of Yao Darlin. So yes, that's also another beautiful stuff that we are 100% looking forward to experiencing, in terms of its global impact once it is complete.
Yeah, before we round up, okay, and yourself, we spoke offline briefly, and you mentioned something quite very important, like even with Ghana Party in the Parks, like that there is some agreement sort of that whoever wins, what is it?
Yeah, so we have a relationship with Akwaba UK, organizers of Ghana Party in the Park, so that year on year you have people who win the New Artist of the Year to be able to utilize the platform of Akwaba to be able to project their works. As a matter of fact, for a new artist, you're looking to expand your reach, you're looking to get new markets, you're looking to break barrier, elevate your game to different areas. And so we thought one of the best places you can do that, exploring from the live music angle, is Akwaba UK. But then again, the ripple effect is almost instant, because if you are able to delight these folks who are in excess of 8,000, 10,000, so to say, then it means that crowd, almost immediately, because of the music consumption nature right here, which has to do with streaming, then it means that you are likely to have direct impact on your streams, because everybody's going to go like, who is this guy who came to perform? Then it begins, it starts and that kind of stuff, and then basically everything changes. So it was an intentional relationship with a clear vision and focus, and that's what we want to be able to push ultimately to the benefit of the artists. We want the platform to elevate their game, and that's what we're working towards.
So you've done a lot of diagnosis, I know personally, and also from your position with Charterhouse as Ghana Music Awards, what is that one thing that you wish you can change on the entertainment scene in our country? This one.
Loaded question.
Yeah, so while it's different, shall I have more than one?
Okay.
How
many do you want to pick?
No,
2 or 3?
Don't worry.
Or just one?
So for
What's
me,
the priority for you?
Things that we want to change. I think it's about, for me, the biggest thing is the music business sector should have folks within the folks of business acumen managing that particular space. If we can get that, it will change everything.
Right.
We are excellent when it comes to, let me say, we are very good, excellent, doing extremely well with the creative component. So showbiz, the show aspect with the force. The business aspect,
acumen,
that's where we have the challenge. So we don't just, we need people who know it. We need the resource persons, as in people dedicated to that particular course. and then running it. If we can do that, then it makes everything changes. Because I keep telling people that, for example, when we talk about Jay-Z or we talk about Tupac, right? There was a Suge Knight who was running the business behind everything that Tupac was doing, and we know Jay-Z had the Rockefellers and stuff like that, Dame Dash and co, and then we know Biggie Smalls had Puffy and co, you know. So there's always a company, a business aspect running behind the art.
Right.
So we need to have that behind the artist. Once we have that, the combination is going to give us the explosion we are looking for locally and internationally. You know, so that's number one. Once we are able to solve that, I think we should be fine.
Yeah, that's Rob. You know, Robert. It's a very powerful name musically, though. Robert Kelly.
Oh man. The king.
King of Rob, R&B.
Yeah,
you can never spell R&B without the R. You know, just
you can't say R&B without the R. That's
true. And I talk about R&B. You know, you've been on the forefront of R&B for a very huge part. You know, so just jumping off the back of what Robert was saying, we have a country that we're trying to really bridge the artistry and the business.
Right.
You know, so for you that you've been performing and creating music, you have albums, and then these days with single-driven markets, when you have an album, it's a huge thing.
Right.
You have 2 albums to your credit, and then you're looking back home, and you're not getting anything from where you are from. How does that really feel to you, and what would you like to change?
I think similarly, I would still connect to what he just said about having people with a business acumen, because what you tend to happen is you tend to have people who have either their friends or relatives, in some spaces, people who don't necessarily have I wouldn't necessarily say the right qualifications, but don't have the right experience, right, in that field. And sometimes there's personal emotions and feelings that comes along with certain decisions that are made, right? Sometimes it just literally hinders moves that can happen, things that can happen either for the artist or even for some certain business deals that can open a huge door for a whole lot of people, not just the artist, but for the artist. And it also then hinders collaboration that can happen. So for instance, if I want to work with an artist in Ghana, sometimes it's difficult to reach out to a specific manager or management or organization who either represent the person, because sometimes some of these things are not even documented properly, right, in that sense, and then, you might reach out to an artist who maybe, even if it's through social media, maybe they're not quite active, or somebody else who's running it and they don't see the relevance of potentially what it can bring. For instance, we mentioned, that my music, predominantly my fan base is in Asia. Right, that's just been what I've been lucky with, right? Even though I'm based in the UK, but think about it. If we're thinking about the fact that music is global and Japan is the 2nd biggest music market in the world, right? Then how best can you even have a bigger exposure by doing that collaboration with somebody who has that, and you can be one of the people who is music from not just within the African space and maybe the Europe space, but you're an African artist or Afrobeat artist or whatever have you, and you also have this exposure to a market that already has an artist established. These are things that it takes a business mind to just be like, we can simply connect the dots and make something happen here. But when you don't have the right people in place, some of these things, they just fall through the cracks. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'd say that's something that for me, I'd wish we could do better on. Do you know what I mean? Yet also I'd say, we should find a balance between allowing people to explore and go into those fields, because sometimes our culture still to some extent frowns on some of these what you want to call it, some of these professions in a way. Do you know what I mean? So so it doesn't really give the impetus for people to say, look, I want to go study entertainment or media or what have you. Do you know what I mean? So we should also give a little bit of grace to that. When we see somebody that has the knack and the talent for it or whatever, or the interest, let's push them. The younger parents, and we should allow the up and coming people, if they want to do that, let's give them that push and let them say that, because we can build the scene. We have the talent. We have, just like how we have resources, we have the talent there to make to explode. And another thing I'd say is collaboration. We need to support each other. I keep saying this every time I have any time to have an interview. We need to support each other. We look at our cousins, and I always refer to Nigerians. They support each other, they collaborate, and that's something that we need to do more of, because that's something that we lack. And when we do that and uplift each other, we have a huge scene, unstoppable. So
you're gonna give us the final word, my brother.
So music basically involves and touches and works with every sector you can think about, So if I'm doing music video, I have the filmmakers in the space. I have people with their props, etc. Everything is happening, location, source, and all of that. We have scoring and color, whatever. Everything post-production happens in that particular space. And if we're doing, you're involving people who are doing insurance. You have accountants on your team who are making payments. Everything,
lawyers, accountants,
lawyers, all of that. All right,
yeah.
Obviously, and then people who are actually doing equipments. The
ecosystem is incredible.
Exactly, because these things are not designed essentially by musicians, right? But
with DJs in mind.
Exactly.
But DJs and everybody in the value chain, the reason why we are all together is because of music. So all I'm saying is music is a huge space, and I think that people need to be able to look at it from the perspective of what it actually really is, not that intangible element that we hear, even though exactly
or that we see, or the rockstar element of it.
So we should look at it from that particular global perspective and understand that if we are able to devote a little bit of attention, and I'm speaking about this from the perspective of back home, Ghanaian market. If we, and then especially those who are in the leadership position, if they are able to embrace this and give it the necessary support it needs, then they can imagine the kind of impact it's going to make.
Infrastructure,
economic wise, and obviously, and what it means to everybody within the space. So, let's jump at it. But beyond that, let's support Ghana music. Ghana music is good. Ghana music is sweet. It's on point, and all they need is the support to be able to get to the next level. This is me being patriotic.
Ladies and gentlemen, SoundboyT, Teddy Abrokwa here.
But wait. This podcast is for who's listening to this?
Yeah, anyone that cares about music and cares about the world.
Primarily Africa.
Yes.
Okay, so let's support African music, ladies and gentlemen. It is important because you see, the reality is this: whatever it is, come on, collaborations are required, and so we need to be. We're listening to a lot of songs coming from South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, that kind of stuff. So basically, let's work together. Let's put our resources together, and let's amplify our impact
on the world. On the world.
On the world.
That's it.
The world. Yeah. So all my peers have hair. I know. We need to have this conversation. Elaborate more on some of the things that we've touched on. We only have a short time, but we need to get to a party real soon. Yeah. So
Motown in place.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Just stopping by.
No problem. Anytime. My guy.
Good to see you.
But I'm surprised. What's the next step for him? Can we hear that at least?
Yeah. Well, the next step for him.
K Breezy, K.
He was breezy before breezy.
Listen. No. So this year I'm really focused on. I'm already recording. I'm back in the studio to record.
No, but you've released two incredible.
I've released two incredible tracks. Listen, Jeje, I had to touch on the African music scene, Afrobeats. Funny enough, interesting story. I did Afrobeats, years ago before it became popping. Sway the South and myself had a track called African Girl. African name, sorry, my bad. African name, which Teddy, Teddy has a dub plate. Teddy has a dub plate, to that, and that was way before Afrobeats was popping. But yeah, I've touched on, some of the African music. Jeje, I have a really interesting single, Jeje, Ready to Party, and then, touch back on my R&B bass, which is, I've got a really good, soulful track, really nice R&B slow jam, which is, it's called Touch Me, So I'm releasing singles throughout the year. That's the whole idea. And I'm working towards my album, which should be out. I'm looking at the fall of this year, which is September 2025. But yeah, very exciting songs, to come. Very exciting music videos. So follow your boy. The boy is KB. Instagram, Facebook, we're on there definitely.
KB Online. Yeah.
KB Online. That's the tagline.
I know that because you've had that for a long time.
I've had that for a long time.
You were online before online was online.
Tell them about
Mr.
it.
MySpace.
Mr. MySpace. Oh my God. Mr. MySpace. Wow. Yeah. So it's been a while.
Music there, it was a platform ahead of its time, and
it was. It really was.
It's good that we get to see how technology is evolved with the music.
Yeah.
Not outside of it, but with it. That it's because sometimes you get to see things move without necessarily tagging along the things that it's supposed to bring along with it.
Yeah.
And then technology, fortunately, apart from the consumption of it, even the production and every aspect of music is evolved with technology. So it's really good to see where we are.
Sure.
So yeah, we need that show. That's what I'm saying. All right.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, introducing SoundboyT on the ones and twos. Enjoy the melodies of the one and only KB.
I don't need a hype man when I go to Ghana.
You don't. You really don't. You go right here.
A very expensive hype man.
Charlie.
Yeah, man. Ladies and gentlemen,
Say one of my favorite songs.
Which one? This
Cheetah's
one?
Dilemma.
Yeah.
You want to take this one? Trouble.
I believe each other. Nice one.
Oh, we're gonna put Kanuba and get that.
Shout. Yeah, definitely, yeah. Who's gonna be calling me in pain? Your voice keeps haunting me. It ain't your fault, it's not before. But we gotta separate. We say it ain't your fault, and it's not before. But we gotta break away. Where do we go from here? Now that it's all open, I won't fear. I found out that you cheated on me. You cheated on me. But now we're even. What happens from here? We used to be the ones people thought we were hot and we're gonna get married, baby. But the years on and when we good? Like we just wasted time. How was I to find you were here tonight? Yeah, I was blind and I couldn't see, 'cause I was getting mine. Oh yeah. How could she still love me? Hey, okay. Jeez.
The remix you never thought you needed, right?
I ain't talking about it, man. If you're feeling the song. Okay, I see what you're doing right there. If somebody here's looking for a partner, somebody say I.
We'll do this one for them.
Somebody say I. If we get on time. Let's get going, guys. Let's get going. All right, let's go. Yeah, man. All right, let's call